Tonight, panic among quake survivors as two more quakes rock the disaster zone, leaving at least 8 dead and dozens injured. Assault of a niqab-wearing woman a possible hate crime, says advocacy group. The incident occurred last month in a Walmart. There has been no progress in the investigation since then. A Calgary-based business supports Gaza. It sells surfing clothing that is dedicated to the Gaza Surf Club.
We kind of felt that this was the opportune time to do some good and to work with the IDRF to raise some funds.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I am Catherine Bullock. 2 new earthquakes have rocked Turkey and northwest Syria, causing panic among people and injuring them. The latest quakes have killed at least 6 and injured dozens across the disaster zone in both countries, according to Turkey's Disaster Management Authority. The epicenter of the 6.4 earthquake yesterday evening was a district in Hatay province in Turkey, the same area hit earlier this month. It was followed by another quake of 5.8 magnitude and dozens of aftershocks. The area is still reeling from the effects of the devastating February 6 earthquake. Yesterday's quake was felt in Jordan, Cyprus, Israel, Lebanon, and Egypt. The National Council of Canadian Muslims, or NCCM, calls on the police to investigate an assault on a niqab-wearing woman as a potential hate-motivated crime. The assault occurred last month when a young niqab-wearing woman was attacked in a Walmart in York, Ontario. She was punched by a man who has not been identified. As a result, the woman lost consciousness and fell down the escalator, sustaining severe injuries. She remained in hospital over a month with damage to her head and face. An NCCM update on February 17th notified people she had been released, but there had been no progress in the investigation. Western University campus in London, Ontario is working to increase prayer space for Muslim students. The students say the prayer room is cramped and they find it difficult to fit in. As a result, many students have to pray on the stairs. In 2020, the university estimated that it had 2,000 Muslim students, while its prayer space could only fit 35 worshippers. Despite adding an extra room, it is not enough. Inadequate access to prayer space was identified in a 2020 anti-racism report. Western's Director of Wellness and Wellbeing says the university is actively looking to identify additional spaces.
Everything that they talked about was actually, even from faith perspective.
Sound Vision Canada, a charitable organization, arranged a Muslim Growth Day on the weekend to help the Muslim community address professional and personal development. The all-day event was held at Sheridan College campus in Brampton, Ontario. Renowned speakers included Imam Hamid Slimi, Taha Hayur, and Timaj Garad. There were 4 tracks in the areas of mental health, relationships, communications, and productivity. Trainers delivered workshops that allowed participants to engage with the material firsthand. The event welcomed nearly 150 guests from all walks of life. Muslim Network TV live streamed the event on YouTube. A unique business venture called the Gaza Surf Club Apparel aims to aid Palestine through the sale of surfing clothing. 100% of the profits are going to the International Development and Relief Foundation for Aid to Palestine. To learn more, we talked to a supporter, Adam Richards. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I grew up in Australia, so we went and surfed often, although I never surfed on a board. We do what's called body surfing. But I wouldn't have thought Calgary is a place where people have a connection to surfing. So I'm really curious to know, how did you come across and become a supporter of the Gaza Surf Club Apparel?
Much like you, I spent some time in Australia as well. So I kind of got in with the surf community there. And then about 5 years ago, I came across a documentary that was affectionately called the same thing, the Gaza Surf Club. And it kind of just chronicled this surf club in Palestine and all the barriers that they were facing. And it just kind of sparked an idea that apparel essentially could do some good to raise some awareness for this group.
Well, I know that amongst the surfing community, how you dress, there's certainly like a fashion there, even if it doesn't look like fashion from the outside with the shorts and the tank tops and stuff. Tell us how you came then to be more than just curious and interested, but actually become an active supporter.
Well, I mean, I had some preliminary talks with the owner of it, who runs a company called Explore Corps that works specifically in Palestine, trying to get these surfers the resources they need. And it just kind of got put to the back burner, unfortunately, with school and with the pandemic in full swing. Everything kind of just got put to the back burner. But now that everything's starting to open up and public perception around what's going on in Palestine has started to shift, we kind of felt that this was the opportune time to do some good and to work with the IDRF to raise some funds. And
so what's your role there?
Within the group, I am essentially, so it was my idea. I piggybacked off of a guy named Michael that's working with the Explore Corps. So it's something that we're running actually through a university program that we are currently that I'm currently in. So it was kind of my idea, and I kind of just started it off to see what we could actually do with this, see if we could actually make a difference.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the university program? That's an intriguing connection.
Yeah, so it's a commerce program. So it's just a general business degree. It just pulls all walks of life in, pretty much everything that you would need to learn from business. And this was a venture challenge. So essentially we had to launch from the ground up a business and then sell it and partner with a Canadian charity so that we could send all our proceeds to that. So this was an idea that I had been mulling on for about 5 years, ever since seeing the documentary. So it just kind of all clicked and came together, and it felt like this was the time to actually go forward with this.
That's interesting. So you had an idea for many years, and then suddenly the school, is it an assignment or something? You're going to get graded on it?
Well, it's a full course, so it's a venture. So yeah, it's an 8-week course where you have to build a program from the ground up and partner with a charity, raise some funds, just to kind of give you an idea of how building an e-commerce business, how that kind of all works together, and gives you the tools to really go out there and do it. So again, I just felt like a really good time. It's just been mulling around for so long, and I was like, this is the time. And like I said, I think public perception is really starting to shift around what's going on in Palestine. I don't think it's viewed as so black and white anymore. I think people recognize that things aren't quite as they seem. So it kind of felt like a good opportunity to just to raise some awareness and send some help where it's much needed.
So you have a team, or are you working a lot on this as a solo project?
So I do have a team. There's 4 of us working. 2 of us are one of us located in Vancouver, another one in Victoria, and then there's another one that is located in Brantford out in Ontario.
Oh, so this is an online program then, where students can beam in from different parts of Canada?
Yeah, unfortunately, the pandemic kind of altered the landscape. So the entire program was actually done pretty much online learning.
Are you able to explain a little bit more about what you mean by the perception of Palestine is changing?
I mean, like for myself growing up, it was always viewed in the media as I'll say like Palestine was in the wrong, and I don't think it's that black and white anymore. I think there's a lot going on there, and I think there's a lot of factions pulling from different directions. And I think, unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's the people that are suffering there. I firmly believe most people just want to live in peace and raise their kids. And I just feel like there's powers that be on all sides that are pulling. So I think people are starting to recognize that, and they realize that these are just people that want to live their lives, and we need to support them.
Is that the kind of feedback you're getting? Like, so let's say you're sitting around telling some friends or people who are visiting I guess your day job is working at the pizza store, and you say, hey, I'm helping sell this apparel. Is that what people are saying back to you? What are they saying back to you?
I mean, like, people are a little bit more open now. That's what I really find. Whereas, let's say 10 years ago, people wouldn't be as comfortable talking about this. They seem more comfortable talking about this now. They seem more interested in sitting down and kind of finding out what's actually going on there. what has been going on there probably for the better part of the last decade. So I think a willingness to actually engage is a really good first step for people to see that people are actually changing their perceptions.
And I can see that you're wearing a hat, Gaza Surf Club. I'm having trouble with this word, apparel. But tell us a little bit more then about the e-commerce, the website itself and the products.
So we launched it through Shopify. We actually have our own website, so people can go online, gazasurfclubapparel.com. And they can, we just built it from the ground up through Shopify. It was kind of part of the program. We just have some basic stuff in there: tank tops, shirts, hats, toques, and some hoodies. And all our profits are going to the IDRF. They're currently working in Palestine. They're also working in Syria and Turkey with the latest earthquake that took place. When I sat down with them, they said I could allocate the money, but I told them I would prefer that they send the money wherever they felt best. So they did earmark some for Palestine, but they might also be using some of it, obviously, with the earthquake that just happened over there. So that's totally up to them. We're just kind of trying to make a difference here.
We interviewed someone from IDRF earlier in the week. He was actually in Turkey, someone who'd gone there to distribute aid. But let me get back to the apparel and the things that you're selling. To get a print on a hat or a tank top costs money. So if you're not taking any of the profit back for costs, how are you funding the product?
So it's all done through drop shipping and Printify. So we just design everything online. We essentially put it in, we get it for a discount through Shopify. And then we mark it up a little bit. So all that markup is essentially the profits, and that goes to the charity, the IDRF.
So there's some initial seed money that's coming from you guys, or it's total like print on demand kind of thing?
It's a lot of it is print on demand. There was a little bit of a startup cost that went along with the course, obviously, but it was quite minimal. Most of it is just done through drop shopping and printing, drop shop printing, essentially. So there's not a lot of money that it changes hands that's coming out of us. It's essentially offering a product, the customer pays for it. Anything above and beyond what the initial cost is, we donate to the IDRF.
And how are you getting the word out apart from doing an interview with us? Do you have a marketing strategy?
We do. So that's part of the course. We're doing a little bit of work on Facebook. We're doing a little bit of work on Instagram. A lot of it is word of mouth. I've reached out to a couple prominent Muslim personalities like yourself, a couple within Canada that work at the CBC. So we're just really trying to get word out there to gain some traction, to let people know. It hasn't been easy on social media. We've found at times that we're navigating a political environment sometimes that it can be a little bit tough. But on our part, we're just trying to stay out of the politics of it. We're really trying to raise some money for the people on the ground. And we don't want to wade into the politics of everything that's going on.
Yes, that makes sense. But then what about the surfers themselves, the ones in Gaza who were the focus of that documentary? Have you been able to make any contact, or do they even know that you're doing this in their name?
Yeah, so I actually have. I talked to the original, the guy who runs Explore Corps, Matt, and I've also talked to the we'll say like the main surfer that they talked to a little bit. I mean, they're definitely positive and they're supportive. They just, I guess they've seen it before, so they're not going to get their hopes up. I have, once this course is done, I've reached out, like I said, I've reached out to Matt, and I'm hoping to work with him exclusively, as he has direct contacts with those surfers on the ground. So hopefully we can get ourselves to the point in this month where we can build the brand up and pass it off to him, essentially, so that we can really go about getting these guys the surf equipment they need, surfboards and whatnot, because that's the big problem they run into. They just can't get the equipment they need.
Right. Amongst other things like food and shelter.
Yeah.
We're out of time, but this is so exciting, and we wish you well. Good luck, and we commend you on this. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please share, like, and subscribe. Stay safe and God bless.